Hey guys, welcome back to another Pokemon XY Wi-Fi battle. So this is a live battle and I am doing a theme team based on my friend's choice. So PokeDTB chose this team for me, and you can pretty much see the team preview of my opponent. So his name is Josh. He is in Australia as well, and he does have some major threats. Mainly the Suicune. I don't like Suicunes. They are always a big problem for me. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to lead off with my Mega Gengar, and PokeDTB's theme team is I asked him to choose 6 of his favorite Pokemon. So he chose, of course he chose the Squirtle, Wartortle and the Blastoise. He also chose the Gengar, Lapras and a Umbreon. So let's go ahead and see how I do in this battle. I know the quality is trash, guys. I'm actually recording in the daytime, so it's just unfortunate. There's too much lighting. So he's going to lead off with his Gyarados. I'm pretty much knew he would. So I'm going to actually try and attempt to burn him. So I'm just going to go straight for the Mega Evolution and go for the Will-O-Wisp. So there's the Mega Evolution. I'm really hoping I don't miss the Will-O-Wisp, otherwise it's going to be game over almost for me pretty much. So I go first, and luckily the Will-O-Wisp does land. So he's going to go for a Crunch. It still does a relative amount of damage. What I'm going to do now, because I got the defense drop, I'm actually going to switch out. So I'm going to switch out into my Umbreon, and I need to set up some curses as soon as possible. So he's going to go for a Dragon's Dance, which is perfectly fine with me. So I'm going to start setting up curse, as I said. He's probably going to go for another Dragon Dance. So because of the burn, he's actually at neutral attack now. So I'm still at +1 defense pretty much. So sorry, my charger is actually running out. Oh, that was a close one. I was about to die. So I'm going to keep going for the curses. And you can see that doesn't do too much damage. Unfortunately, he does get the flinch. So he's pretty much going to attempt to flinch me to death. So the burn damage is doing its thing. I'm going to go for one more curse. So at this point, I'm actually going to go for a rest. I don't want to get too greedy. And he lands a crit. So that's very unfortunate, and he's going to get the Moxie boost, so it's going to be a huge issue for me. So Pokemon is a game of luck as well as skill. So you can plan everything, you can do everything right, and then all of a sudden a crit is going to absolutely destroy you. At this point I'm actually going to just roar him away. So here comes his Chandelure. I'm pretty much expecting either a energy ball or a shadow ball. So at this point I'm actually just going to go for a rest. So there's the energy ball. And that's more than enough to take out the Blastoise. So I do need to conserve my Gengar for the Amongoose. So I'm pretty sure he's going to switch in his Mega Gyarados now just to die. So he decides to stay in, he could be Focus Sashed. So I don't know why he sacrificed that Pokemon. So at this stage I'm pretty much, I need to switch out as I said because I do want to conserve my Gengar. So I'm going to switch out into my Wartortle. So I'm going to go straight for the Scald, probably expecting the Amongoose to come in. So unfortunately he actually sends out his Suicune. So if this is a normal generic Suicune, it's going to have Calm Mind, it's going to have Rest, it's going to have all those shenanigans. So I'm just going to go for a Toxic anyway. So there's the Calm Mind, pretty obvious what he wanted to do. So I do land the Toxic, which is great. So I'm not too worried about this Suicune actually, because I do have the Lapras, which I'm going to switch into now. So Suicune is not that much of an issue. My biggest threat is definitely the Amongoose. So I'm just going to attempt to hit this Suicune with a Sheer Cold. And unfortunately I missed the first one. So I don't know what attack he plans to hit me with. He probably doesn't know I have Water Absorb. So I managed to land the second Sheer Cold and Suicune goes down. So here comes the Heracross. I am expecting a fighting type move. So what I want to do now is probably go into my Gengar. So it turns out he's actually a Mega Heracross, which is very scary for me. So at this point, I definitely want to try get a Will-O-Wisp on him. So I do land the Will-O-Wisp. So I'm happy to stay in. I'm going to go straight for a Sludge Bomb. And I think he's actually going to Rage Quit. So yeah, he unfortunately Rage Quit. So there we are, he did Rage Quit, can't handle it. So let's see if we can find another battle. Hey guys, so hopefully I got a second more serious battle versing someone from Japan, and I do get worried fighting people from Japan because they tend to use legendaries. But anyway, in saying that as well, let's go ahead and see what we're up against here. So obviously this is still PokeDTB's theme team. And you are right, that is a bit of a mouthful. PokeDTB, that's more better. So just waiting on him to choose what Pokemon he wants to use. And still waiting, and he has finally selected. So let's see what we are up against here. And surprisingly, he doesn't have any legendaries. Unfortunately though, he does have a Serperior, and that counters my team rather hard. So at this point, what I want to do is I'm actually going to lead off with my Gengar. So let's go do that. Let's lead off with the Gengar. So he's going to lead off with the Chansey. I am going to go straight for the Gengar. And what I want to do is I'm actually going to trap in his Chansey because I am the Mega Gengar and I am going to trap it in. So if I can get rid of Chansey, it's going to be very good for my team because most of my teams are special attackers. Unfortunately, he withdraws, so he's probably going to send in his Registeel. He doesn't, he sends in the Escavalier. So I should have gone for a Shadow Ball, but predicting the switch. But obviously I got outplayed here, and I know these things like to run Drill Run. So at this point what I want to do is probably get off a Will-O-Wisp. I do like to burn it if I can. Hoping it doesn't miss, obviously. So the Escavalier is trapped in. So I do land the Will-O-Wisp, which is really good. And he's just going to go for a Iron Head, and doesn't do too much damage after the burn. So I'm actually going to preserve my Gengar for a little later, and I'm probably going to go straight into my, probably my Wartortle. So I'm going to actually predict a switch and go for a Toxic. He might switch out into his Chansey, but he doesn't. He decides to stay in. He's going to go for a X-Scissor. Doesn't do too much damage, obviously, because he is burned. And I might actually just go for a Scald here. So at this point, I'm pretty sure he just wants to sack off his Escavalier. So Wartortle is going to die to the infestation. That's perfectly fine. So at this point, what I want to do, I'm actually going to send out my Lapras. And I'm going to go straight for the Freeze Dry. So I'm kind of hoping he'll send in the Superior now, because I know I can take one Leaf Storm and hit hard with a Freeze Dry. So unfortunately he sends out his Zeb Striker, and that's not the matchup I wanted at all. I think what I'll do, I'm actually going to still go for a Surf. So he's going to go for a Volt Switch. I probably should have just clicked Freeze Dry. That was a mistake on my behalf. So here comes the Registeel. And you can see that does hardly any damage whatsoever. So at this point, the only thing I can do is probably try my luck with a Sheer Cold. So he might want to set up rocks. I don't know what he plans on doing. So I go for a Sheer Cold, and unfortunately it does miss. He's just going to go straight for a Sizing Toss. And like I said, the only chance I have is to hit him with a Sheer Cold. I've only got 2 chances after this. So I missed that one. He's going to go for another Seismic Toss. And I've only got one more chance to land that Sheer Cold. And unfortunately I missed all 3 of them. And he's going to go straight for the Thunderbolt now. So I don't have too many answers for this Registeel. What I plan to do now, I'm going to probably try and set up as many curses as I can. That might be the only way I can actually win. So let's go for a few more curses. So he does go for a Toxic, but that's perfectly fine because I do have rest. I'm not too worried about that. So at this point I need to go for rest a little earlier because of the Toxic. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna go for another Toxic. I'm just gonna go for a Curse again. So he does go for a Toxic and lands it, unfortunately. So I'm actually going to go for a payback now just to see how much damage it does. So he's actually going to withdraw. And he's going to send out his Superior, which works out really good for me. And unfortunately it's a defensive one. So I'm assuming he's going to probably go for a Leech Seed. I'm actually going to go for a Toxic now. So there's the Leech Seed. He does land it, unfortunately, and I'm really hoping I do land the Toxic. So there's the Toxic. So unfortunately I'm forced into a position where I need to do rest again. So I have to go for another rest. So the sad thing about that is I do need to stay asleep for 2 turns. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to take a bit of a risk and send out my Squirtle now, so he doesn't get any more leftovers recovery. So I'm going to send out my Gengar, I'm going to trap it in and go straight for the Sludge Bomb. So let's go for a Sludge Bomb and finish off the Superior. So he's going to probably go for a Dragon Dance here. I'm actually going to send out my Blastoise because I know I can tank pretty much any physical attack. If he decides to go for an Earthquake, so it is a Mega, unfortunately, and I'm assuming he's probably going to go straight for the DD, which is Dragon Dance. So he actually goes for the Earthquake, and he Rage Quits. So there we are, PokeDTB's team is too powerful, he does Rage Quit. He knew that he couldn't do anything once I get rid of this Gyarados, because Gengar is going to sweep his entire team. So that's very unfortunate. Let's go ahead and see if we can find another battle. Hey guys, so it looks like I found the third and final battle of PokeDTB Team. So she's going to lead off with a Sigilyph, and I really hope I can actually get one proper battle. I've had nothing but 2 Rage Quit unfortunately, so I'm actually going to Mega Evolve, trap in the Sigilyph and go straight for the Shadow Ball. So my opponent is Effie, and she's been an acquaintance of mine for a few years now, and she's a fantastic player, so I can't take too many risks. So I'm going to go straight for the Shadow Ball and take out the Sigilyph. So she's actually going to send out her Gastrodon. And these things are bulky as shit, so I'm actually going to pretty much switch into perhaps my Lapras, because my Lapras is assault vested and can tank any special attack. So she's actually going to go for a Curse. So you don't really see Curse Gastrodon very often. Unfortunately for her, what that does is it's going to lower her speed, which is going to let me outspeed. And Freeze Dry is actually 4 times effective on a Gastrodon because it's water and ground. So her Gastrodon does go down, unfortunately. So here comes out her, I think that's, what was it called, a Lampart? I think it is, I can't remember. But in any case, I'm going to go straight for the Surf. And I do outspeed it, surprisingly. And that doesn't do that much damage, and it turns out she's actually carrying the Drain Punch. So at this point, what I want to do, I'm just going to try my luck with a Sheer Cold. And I do miss her, and she's going to keep going for a Drain Punch. I mean, I can switch out if I wanted to. But I'm going to continue with the Sheer Cold, see if I get lucky. And unfortunately I do miss them, and she's able to take out my Lapras. So at this point, what I want to do, I'm actually going to send out my Gengar again. So it is a physical one, and it is assault vested. So what I want to do, I actually want to get the burn off. Unfortunately I missed the burn, and she's actually going to go straight for a knockoff and does a ton of damage. So at this point, I'm actually going to go for a Destiny Bond. So I really need to get rid of this Pokemon. It is a big threat. So she is going to take down my Gengar, but in return, I'm actually going to take her down with the Destiny Bond. So an eye for an eye, and no pun intended, because Gengar has that massive eye in the middle. And we both go down to that. So I'm going to pretty much send out the Squirtle. And I just want to see what she sends out. So poor Squirtle is pretty much just to check out what she wants to do, a bit of a Death Otter, but he's standing out here, he doesn't give a shit, his tail is wagging, he's happy as it can be. So he's actually going to go for a Drain Punch, and doesn't do too much damage, so I'm going to take this opportunity to set up the Iron Defense. And I'm actually going to go for a Scald, low-key hoping for a burn. And you can see the Drain Punch doesn't do too much damage anymore, and if I get that burn, it's gonna pretty much render her Pokemon useless. Unfortunately, I don't get the burn, but I'm still gonna fish for it. So I'm just fishing for the burn now. And I still don't get the burn, so at this point, Squirtle is gonna go down. But you know what they say, if it doesn't work the first time, try and try again. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, because I'm going to send out Squirtle's big brother, the Wartortle. So I'm just going to go for a Iron Defense again. And she actually reveals she does have the bulk up. So I think she was expecting me to be an Eviolite with the Iron Defense again. So at this point, what I want to do is I'm going to try go for a Scold. I really need that burn. Drain Punch shouldn't do too much. So it does hardly anything at all, and I really need to get that burn off. And still no burn, unfortunately. And my luck is absolutely dreadful, so what I decided to do, I'm actually going to go for a Toxic instead. So I land the Toxic. And turns out she's actually got a Lumberry, which is rather unfortunate. So what I want to do now, I'm actually going to switch out into... no, actually I'm not. I'm actually going to go for a Toxic again. So I was going to switch out, but I'll just stay in and try to get the Toxic off on this thing. So I could have gone for a Rest, but I would rather get the Toxic. So luckily I do land the Toxic. So she's going to go straight for the Shadow Sneak. And Wartortle is going to go down. So that's very unfortunate, but at least the Toxic damage is going to start racking up now. And what I tend to do, I need to desperately go into my Blastoise and hope I survive a Drain Punch so I can use Roar and roar this thing away. So she's going to go for the Drain Punch. And luckily Blastoise is bulky enough to survive it, so I am going to just use Roar. And I completely forgot about this thing actually. So the best thing for me to do now is probably go straight into my Umbreon. I don't know what she plans on doing, but I need to start setting up my Umbreon if I am to stand a chance. So she's actually going to go for the Leech Seed. I guess she was expecting the switch. And at this point, I really hope she does go for a Will-O-Wisp because I do have the ability to synchronize. And she does actually go for a Will-O-Wisp but miss it. So I'm just going to keep going for the Curse now. So there's the Will-O-Wisp, that's exactly what I was waiting for. So I don't know what her fourth attack is, so at this point what I want to do is I do want to rest off all the damage I did receive. So she does only have Shadow Sneak. I've seen Shadow Sneak, Will-O-Wisp and Leech Seed. So I don't know what else she's having, but if any case I'm actually going to go straight for the rest now. So she does have leftovers, and that burn damage isn't going to do any damage because I am Leech Seed, unfortunately. So what I plan on doing, I'm actually going to go straight for the payback. And I'm hoping a +3 payback can pretty much take this thing out if she does go for a Shadow Sneak, which she does because payback now becomes a attack power of 100. So I'm really hoping I can take it out in one hit. And luckily I do. So Gorgeist has gone down, and I should have enough curses up to at least survive attack from this thing, from a Gallade. So I'm actually going to go straight for the payback as well. So she's actually going to go for a bulk up. That's actually pretty smart. And unfortunately for her, I actually landed the critical hit. So that was the game changer right there. And her last Pokemon over here is the Greninja. And I can pretty much tank anything he wants to throw at me because I am a defensive beast. Decides to go for a U-turn, but I do have +3 in defense, so it's not going to do too much damage. And because she did change into a bug type, this payback should definitely take it out. So Umbreon came in clutch. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed PokeDTB's Team.